Ooh, take a nice deep breath. Breathe into your heart now and out of your mind. And what's that mind thinking? Thoughts. That's what the mind does. Analyze, figure it out, judge, go back and forth. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Breathe into your heart. Right now is a new moment, a fresh beginning, and you are an eternal being. Time is a concept that we've been agreeing to. Okay, and yet we could see how time goes. Yes, bodies change, things change. This is the outer world of change. Here's part 3 of generating self-control. Okay, first one, notice who and what you're giving your power to. Second point is why. What are you getting out of it? What are you trying to achieve by giving your power to others? Well, I've got to survive. No, you got to know who you are. You are eternity. It's not about survival. You don't need to survive. This is a mind thing. It can only survive from the life you give it. You are life. You are the one giving life to everything. You're the one who's saying it's true and it's real. You're doing that. And that's why it's real and true for you, because you're saying it, you see. That's who you are. So point 3 is, because the second one is, what are you getting out of it? And when you notice, what are you using it for? You got to own and take your powers back. Even though we have been, you might say, put into a hypnotic trance, even though we've been programmed and conditioned to believe certain things, we've been using the carrot and the stick, reward and punishment, and all of this to find out how you actually really can control the power of a divine being. You have to be able to control their thinking and their belief in what they're thinking, and their concepts, what they value, what they give their life to, what they're generating, and what they're doing. And when you control that, you control their actions and the results of that. And what you want to do is, as you take your own power back, is to do realize that you do know. That's our inner state of wisdom. That's who we are. So the third point then, after you look at what are you getting out of it, is to train yourself to be self-empowering. And you do that, you have to look at tricks. What kind of tricks and things can you use to keep reminding yourself to remember who you are? And that means it's a practice. It's like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Well, you've got to practice, playing the piano or whatever you want to do. And it's to practice doing something. And it's a lot of doctors, they're practicing. Well, basically you want somebody who knows what they're doing. But it's when you practice something, I wouldn't even say practice, you're doing it. It's not a practice, you're doing it. And yeah, there are exercises that you can do if you're playing the piano or the voice that actually helps you to develop those muscles. You want to develop self-control. And how you develop self-control is, all right. I'm noticing I have a little trouble with the digestion again. It just happened a little bit. So I said, okay, what's going on? So I started noticing and looking. What changes? What was I going through? Now, what was the thing I was doing? Okay, when I get up early in the morning, I get kind of really hungry early. But I'll go eat something that is not easily digestible. And it's also, I'm eating it with something that doesn't go with that. It's a starch and a protein together, and they don't work well together because they don't digest. Okay. So digestion is very important. And that's one of the big problems with glyphosate and the Roundup and all of these pesticides and bad chemicals, is when you get the food and all of that, what it does with the brain, it separates the brain from the body being able to absorb the nutrients, so you're eating but you're starving yourself to death and creating all other problems. This is what, just like, remember I told you, polio came from the pesticides used in apple orchards, you see, for the insect to separate the brain from the body, so the brain would say move and the body won't do it. Okay, that's where this comes. And then it was contagious and it's all that, and you develop a big industry around it. Come on. Self-control. So then, once you truly want that, so what did I have to do that morning the next morning is I wanted to go for the same thing I go for before, but I can use my intelligence. And I said, no, I'm going to have some fruit. Now my tongue is going, no, I'm going to have some fruit. And then I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to savor it, and I'm going to be like this. But so you have to develop self-control. And one of the keys, if you truly desire that, you tune in to the divine, and all things are possible. Another way, you have to look at, how do I train myself to have self-control? Here's another one. Always breathe a little bit before you respond to anyone. Always before, if you notice what you're quick at, you fillet somebody really fast. You just say the nasty thing right there. It's a knee jerk. It's a acting from the old thing to change a pattern. You see, then you go. That's the value. Like coming to one of my retreats and workshops, or whoever you do go to or see that is a valuable person for you, because I set them up so that you're setting up all these habits. Like I'm even considering doing, 1 week and maybe 2 or even 3 week residential programs for people who are really, really, really serious about wanting to completely transform themselves by taking on full self-control in every single aspect. And then when true self-control is ultimately, we give the control to where the control exists is in the divine. We're basically harmonizing ourselves with the truth that always is. There is no power for evil. The Zoroastrians and such, Ahura Mazda says, brought forth that teaching that God is both good and evil. No, the divine. Well, you could have a false God that has good and evil, obviously. And people say, well, my God's different in New York. That's probably true. Okay, but I'm talking about the absolute of who you are. So how do you then generate self-control is to create the habit of self-control. You may be needing to go to AA meetings. You may need to go to alcoholics or drug addiction. Whatever it may be, that you're going to get some support to put in. Okay, like when I used to have the wine at night and such, I realized because it was my reward, I had to find another reward for myself. I had to make myself busy at those times when I was always so doing something else. You have to look at how committed are you really? How what would you say, supportive of you are you? Your greatest investment is in yourself. And when you know and who are you are, and you know how to control your senses, control your mind, because you're now in knowing and harmonizing with the divine, wow, this is all possible for you. Never give up. And when you fall off the path, so to speak, notice when you fell off, that's great, get back in and start again. And in a consistent, disciplined way, consistently, over and over and over, you pull yourself back into who you are until you're living from who you are. And you're conscious and deliberate and in harmony with self, the divine, and all in every moment, regardless of what anybody else does. It's your bubble.